Hello and welcome back to the stream. Saturday afternoon, February 15th. Hope you all are doing well. My name is Angela Holden, coming to you from St. Paul, Minnesota. I look a little washed out. That doesn't look better. Oh well. Lighting. It's weird. Okay. Well, welcome back to the stream. We are working on this design. It's called the Ocean. It's a mock-up that I've had in my collection for a while now. Let's make it a little bigger. And we've been building this out for several weeks. It's going really well. I feel like we made great progress last weekend. And I want to continue that today. Let's make this a wee bit smaller. And yeah, we do have, nope, I guess that's looking okay. So this is what we got done last weekend, is we got this off-canvas navigation finished for mobile. Oh yay, Monique is here. Hello, Monique. Good day to you as well. I hope you're staying warm. I know you're out on the East Coast. We have, it's pretty, well, I'll say this, it's above 0 today, so that's nice. But we have actual snow. So this is the first time we've had snow for really most of the winter. So it's cold, it's snowy, it's Minnesota. Yeah. So I want to continue today working on the search. I think this off-canvas navigation is looking amazing. I'm so happy with it. I want to get the search drawer built, and then I suspect tomorrow we're going to dig in and do some testing with accessibility. One thing that I feel very mindful of, and I think that we did a good job accounting for this. We'll have to just see how it goes once we actually start testing. And I think I can do, let's just, maybe we'll do a preliminary test here. So we have our header. This is the social icons. Here's our logo, which we should probably make an anchor element because it would link. Then we have this top right, which these are the buttons for search and the buttons for the menu. And then immediately after the buttons for search and the buttons for the menu, we have the main navigation, which is display none on mobile. So as soon as we go down to mobile, it's display none. And accessibility wise, we would be tabbing through the off-canvas navigation, not the main navigation. But you have to trigger the button in order to open the navigation. So let's just, instead of talking about it, let's just do it. Let's just go through it and demonstrate what this is going to look like. So let's do desktop first. So we're hiding our menu, hamburger menu. So I'll refresh the page again. And now I'm going to tab, and immediately we tab through the social icons. Then we skip over to the search, and we're going to build the search drawer today. We should probably put, like I said, an anchor element, an href around the ocean or the logo to make sure that that's something that always gets us back to the home page. So for now, I don't have that there, so it's not naturally getting focus when we tab. So after the search bar, now we go to our navigation. The other thing we need to do is we need to put anchor tags around each of these 3 images in the hero. Again, I neglected to do that when I was building this. So pretend that happens. And then as we hit, are you not, there we go. And then as we continue to hit tab, anything that is a link or a button by default gets focus. So that's working the way it should. So let's refresh, go back up to the top of the page. Now let's see how things look on mobile. So again, I hit tab and it's going to go directly to search because I don't have the logo linked. Then we go over to the hamburger menu, and then we go, where are you? There we go. So you have to actually hit enter. Hello. You have to hit enter. Oh yeah, so that we need to fix this. So here's what's happening. I actually did think about this week. So if we enter past the hamburger menu, tab past the hamburger menu, the tab is going into the off canvas drawer, and that's because we're not hiding the off canvas drawer the way we should be. The tab should go, if we don't hit enter to open the drawer, that tab should continue to the body and it should go straight down the DOM into the links. So let's fix that. We can fix that with our CSS. So this is probably the header, and I think I know what I did last week. Yeah, so there's the main nav, here's the off canvas nav. So the class active is what triggers that off canvas drawer to slide open when you click or hit enter when you're tabbing on the hamburger menu. So we need to make this display none, and then we need to make active display flex. And let's do our SAS watch. Now, because it's display none while it's off canvas, it won't enter into that drawer and tab through those items if it's not visible. So let's go back and test this. Okay, so if I tab, there we go. Now we tab past that menu because we didn't trigger the button to open the off-canvas navigation. So if I hit, hold down the shift key and tab, I can go backwards or I can go in reverse. So now if I hit enter, I trigger that. Now I tab through the navigation. Here's the other problem that we have though. If I continue to tab through the last item in this drawer, what happens? The drawer stays open and we enter the rest of the document now. And so that's not ideal. What we really should do is when we trigger this drawer open, we should trap the focus inside the drawer, meaning that as we tab through and we get down to this last item, which is this Pinterest link, it should, instead of entering the document and continuing through, it should go directly back up to the hamburger menu or that close button. That's what that should be doing. So, let's see here. So let's ask ChatGPT for a little bit of help, shall we? Okay, so how do I use JavaScript to trap the focus inside of my off-canvas navigation? So I have a click event on a button to trigger opening the drawer. Let's see what it says. To trap focus inside your off-canvas navigation when it is open, you can follow these steps. Use the focus in event. Keep track of all focusable elements inside the off canvas nav. Detect when focus is about to leave the navigation and redirect it back. Monitor the key down event for tab. Handle the tab key and the shift tab key to reverse to ensure users can't tab out of the navigation. Restore focus when closed. Okay, here's how you implement it. So we already have, let's pull up our JavaScript. Make this a little bigger. So we already are toggling this active class, and we're adding active to the body, which does overflow hidden on the body. Then we do an active class on the menu itself, and we do an active class on the button, but we're toggling all of these things. So we already have an event listener for DOM content loaded. So we need to do a function get focusable elements container, return container.querySelector all, a button input text area select details tab not okay, so and then filter that element has attribute disabled. Okay. And so this is off canvas nav is the drawer itself, and then it's defining 2 buttons. I only have 1 button, so we'll just have to account for that. So we're going to track the focus, focusable events, get the focusable elements in the off canvas navigation, which for us would be mobile off canvas. If focusable elements length is 0, then return out of the function. The first element, okay. If key, okay. Open nav. Close nav. Let's see. Okay, I think we can modify this. Hang on, I'm just going to tell it. I'm just going to tell it what I am already doing. Here's what I'm doing. I only have 1 button, and I toggle a class called active for both the button and the drawer. Can you rewrite the above code using what I already have? Got it. Since you're toggling a single active class on both the button and the drawer, I'll simplify the code while keeping focus trapping and accessibility intact. Okay, but why aren't you using my classes? I already have my own CSS. Also, please use my classes. Got it. Sometimes you have to ask ChatGPT more than once to do the thing that you want it to do. All right, I need to get sassy now because it's still not using my classes. Oh my goodness. Look at my code. Those aren't my classes for the drawer or the button. Didn't I copy that in? I know I did. Okay. There we go. So it's the same function to trap the focus. It's one function to toggle instead of a function for both. Okay, so let's give this a try and see what happens. I will refresh. Okay, so that still works. Oh, and then we automatically get focus on the first item. Nice, but my button, how do I get out of this? It's my button does not get focus. Okay. Well, Angela, see if you can figure it out. Let's see here. First oh, you know why? Because it's not inside the container. The button is not actually inside the container. That's why it doesn't get focus. We are literally trapping it inside. Huh, yeah, that's a problem. We might have to have two buttons. Oh, I see why this doesn't work as I expected it to. My button is outside. My button is outside the drawer. Can it be added to the array so the focus goes to the button? Yes, since your button menu is outside, it won't naturally be included in the focusable elements inside the menu. To ensure the button remains focusable while trapping focus inside the menu, I'll manually add the button to the list. Yeah, that makes sense. Add the button to the list so it can be cycled through. Focusable elements, unshift. All right. Boy, it's just a matter of figuring out the right questions to ask. For anybody who thinks that AI is going to take over development, I just don't think that's true, because there we go. I just don't think that's true. Look, there we go. And the focus stayed on the button. Beautiful. So now we have the focus trapped inside of this drawer. So we cycle all the way through, and you can't get out until you actually trigger that button, and then you go through. That's awesome. Gosh, I love that. This is only something that I really recently figured out. 1 second. All right. All right, we're off to a good start. Let's see if we can get this picture to load. There we go. We are off to a good start. So we're going to do something really similar with the search drawer. So here's the thing that we just need to think about now with the search drawer. So if we go back to our HTML, because you can see here, here's one button, here's our other button, then we've got the navigation. That's hidden correctly, so I'm not worried about that. So where do we want to put our search drawer? Because we'll have to do the same thing. We'll have to focus we'll have to trap the focus inside the search drawer when the drawer is open. We also need to make sure that as you go past these buttons, you are not automatically going into the drawer if the drawer is not active and showing. So we won't use any media queries because the search drawer is not exclusively for mobile. So it's going to look something very similar to this. And now that we know that we can add an element outside the drawer and keep it in as part of the array of focusable items, we just want to get it into the right spot. So I'm really thinking that we could just put it, well, honestly, we could just put it right inside this container. Yeah, we might as well just put it right inside this container. Is top right? Do we have position relative on top right? Header, top header, button menu, primary logo, main nav. Do we have any styles for top right? It's possible I'm also overthinking this. Since we know how to hide it appropriately, it might not matter. So, we'll just put it right here. Yeah, let's put it in top right. Top right. Just a little bit. All right. So, oh, and you know what we should do? Let's, I don't have these pulled up. Let's grab our mockups, documents. So here's the mock-up for our off-canvas navigation, which this is a little wider than we did it, but I'm happy with what we did. Here is the drawer for, okay, I'm glad that I pulled this up. I may not want to put it in there. I think that clearly the search drawer, when it's open, it's covering up everything beneath the header. Yeah, and we will also, this also doesn't give us any indication of how we close the search drawer, so we'll maybe just want to put, I guess we could just put like an X over here in the corner on the left, and then we'll want to make sure that, we'll want, how do they close it? Do you click the search drawer to search icon to close it again? Do you click an additional button? Does that mean we need 2 buttons to close it? Here's the other thing. If we're trapping the focus inside this drawer, well, I guess if we're just going to grab the button search icon, we would want to okay, so now that I'm thinking this through a little bit, we do want to trap the focus inside the drawer. I think we can add a separate button inside the drawer that if you click that button, it closes the drawer, and then we don't have to add the search icon to the focus trapping, but if you click the search icon, it will toggle the class to close it. Does that make sense? Yeah. It sort of makes sense to me. So let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, and I think it'll make sense when we're done. I think it'll make sense when we're done. And we really have like we have we have just a couple things in here, right? So this is a search form, so it'll be a form element. Oh, let's go ahead and write our CSS, or excuse me, our markup. So we don't want it to be inside top right. We do want it to be after the main navigation and before the mobile off canvas. And actually, logically, that does make sense to me because we have the search button, the menu button, search drawer, mobile drawer. That makes sense to me. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and do div with a class of search drawer. And I'm going to leave the action blank for now. And we'll do form class form. And yeah, this is all making sense to me now. So we have a label for, we'll just call label for search. And then we'll just say search this site. And we'll probably want to put a class of access hidden. And then we'll do an input type search. The ID is search, and we'll do, and then we'll do a class of, well, we'll do a class of search input. And then we'll do a placeholder search. And then we will need a submit button. Why do I feel like a button? What am I thinking of? We did that modal. I think the SVG. What am I thinking of? So we did a modal pop-up. What did I call it? Modal dialog. Here we go, modal window. So this is a project we worked on a few months ago. Let's take a look at this. Because why do I, there we, oh, beautiful. And look at, this was already had focus. Oh, but we didn't, apparently we didn't trap that focus, did we? Interesting. We did not trap the focus. Huh. How did I'm just refreshing my memory on how I did this. And then here's our dialog. Div. Inner wrap. Modal form. Yeah, and our dismiss button was outside of the form. Okay. Well, I just wanted to check that. Yeah, I just wanted to check that. Okay, moving on. Where are we? And then we'll do, so we just have one input. I'm going to do a button for the submission. So we'll just say submit. This doesn't really have a submit button. It should, so we're going to add that. So I think that we'll do a span with a class of access hidden, submit, and then let's grab an SVG for our submit button. Ionicons. I think an arrow. I think I want to do an arrow. Oh, do I already have, where else am I using an arrow? Oh, for the continue reading links, that's where I'm using an arrow. Okay. So arrow forward outline. Hang on, why aren't you showing me the XML? That's weird. I've never had an SVG just open the SVG before. Why is VS Code not showing me? Oh. All right. I don't know. Okay. This works. Thank you. Also, I'm using VS Code. When I click on an SVG to copy and paste the XML, it's showing a preview of the SVG. How do I see the XML? Open with text editor. There we go. I've never had to ask VS Code to show me the XML for an SVG before. That's weird. Okay. Well. So now we have a submit button, and I'm going to give this a class of submit button. So we've got our label for the input. We have our input type search. We have a button with the word submit, so a screen reader will be able to read that. We should also do aria hidden true, so the screen reader doesn't try to read out this XML. Yeah, this looks good. And then we want to put, and then because this button is inside a form element, clicking this button is how the form knows to submit the data. Of course, we don't have an action for the search. This site isn't hooked up to an API or connected to anything. So there is no action, but that if you're thinking to yourself, how does that button know what to do when you click it? It's because it's inside the form element. That's how it knows what to do. So let's put another button here, and this is going to be button class. We'll do button icon, and then I guess I'll just say button close, but we're going to borrow these styles right here and make our own button, make our own X. Button close, span with a class of access hidden, and we're going to say close search, and it's only going to be visible when the search drawer is open. That's why I specify close search, not open or close search. So we've got close search, and then I'm going to do a plain div and a plain div, and then we will borrow the CSS from our menu button. We will borrow this CSS to make our own X, just using two divs and some CSS. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's about it, huh? And then once we have this all styled, so I don't think we're going to need top right. This is driving me crazy. There we go. So once we have this drawer styled, then we'll deal with the focus trapping. Here's the other thing. If the search, so let's go back to mobile. If the, I don't want there to be a competition. The Supreme Overlord is here. How are you? So happy to see you. We haven't seen you you must be on a break from school. I'm happy to have you here. What I don't want to have happen is for there to be a competition of which drawers open. So I very deliberately made this so when the navigation is open, you aren't able to click on the search. So you can just have navigation open, or you can just have search open. And I'm going to do the same thing with search. And so obviously that's only going to apply on mobile because the navigation is always available on desktop. So we're going to make this so you are not able to click on. So there's going to be, we're going to be really deliberate with our Z index, right? Because all of these drawers have fixed positioning, which is pretty aggressive, but totally appropriate. And I think I said last week that a lot of times I see like Z index 9999, like trying to just get it up as high as possible. And I think that's a mistake. I think that especially in cases like this, where you're being extremely deliberate about what is showing when, only use the Z index that you need to get the stacking order you want. And of course, you can never go higher than the actual parent container that you're inside of. So it's good to keep your the things that are going to be positioned with z-index in the same parent container. You have the most control that way. But I definitely, if this search drawer is open, I don't want you to be able to open the navigation, because then what sits on top? And then what do you do? What is the user supposed to do? And then if we're doing all of this focus trapping, where does the focus get trapped if both drawers are open? So I'm going to be very intentional about the fact that you can have either the search drawer open or the menu open. And if it seems like I'm talking about this too much, this is an important thing for you as a developer to sort out and make decisions on. And I do think this is the developer's job. Now, if your leadership team or your product manager or whomever comes back and says, actually, we want it to function this way, or if they hand you the designs and they say, we want it to function this way, well, then that's another situation. But if nobody does that and you're just handed these designs, I definitely think that it is our job as front-end developers to sit down and sort these things out and make some decisions. And I think 9 times out of 10, if you sort this out and you're very intentional about what is open when, and making sure it's not a competition of drawers, nobody will question that. Nobody will question that functionality. So we are working on this design. So we've been working on this for several weeks. This is a mock-up, and this is, actually this is a good time to let people know that this is a mock-up that I've had in my collection for like 8 years, I think since 2016. And we've spent the last several weekends building this out. We have this homepage done. We have the mobile responsiveness done. I think there's maybe a few more refinements that we could make. Last weekend, we did this off-canvas navigation. So this fly-out navigation for mobile. Today, we're working on the search drawer. And I do plan to go through and build out these inner pages. And then, of course, all of this is on GitHub, open source. So anybody who would like to use this is welcome to use it. So I'm pretty excited about this. This is the thing that I think that I do the best, just building UIs and making sure that everything is excessive and responsible. And Supreme Overlord says he is doing well. He is home for the weekend, going back on Monday. Well, thank you for dropping in and hanging out with me. That makes me feel so good. I'm always happy when folks pop in to say hello. I was also thinking about how I need to be better at asking people to please like the video if you like the content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I have big plans for this channel in 2025. I have so many things planned that I'm so excited to tell you guys about over the next few weeks, that I'm just sort of silently working on behind the scenes, and I'm getting very close to letting you all in on what I have planned. And one of the things is just growing the channel and getting, I think the first goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers, right? Like that's kind of the first big milestone. So if you haven't already, please, I think liking the content and commenting on the videos shows the YouTube algorithm that it's a video worth pushing out. And if you haven't already and you enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe, right? We love to have you. So, okay, back to it. So let's move a couple things around here. And man, once we have the rest of this header and search drawer and navigation and accessibility nailed down, we should be able to dive into those inner pages and get those built, hopefully relatively quickly, right? Because once you have a header and a footer done and you've established your core styles and your core functionality and your core responsiveness, your site is like 2/3 done, regardless of how many pages you have, because you have established this roadmap for the overall site. with so much functionality. So, okay, so the first thing that we need to do here is so here's our search drawer, and the parent container of the search drawer is the header. Perfect. The parent container of the search, well, okay, but we maybe want that to be, okay, we need this to be at the bottom of the header, but it kind of already is at the bottom of the header. It just needs to be below the nav. So the header should be is this why isn't our header position? Oh, it's position, well, it's position sticky. I think I kind of remember thinking this last weekend too, that I needed to make this position static, but maybe it really needs to be position relative. How did I position the off-canvas navigation if my header's not position relative? Oh, probably because position fixed, we don't want it to be fixed against the header. We want it to be fixed against like the body or the HTML document itself. But I do want it to be, so I wonder if that's going to screw up my sticky drawer, because I do want it to be relative. Let's see. No, that doesn't have any impact on that. So here's sticky on mobile, relative, yeah, and then relative for desktop, and it naturally sits already beneath, here's our search drawer, it naturally already sits beneath the search drawer. So if this is position I mean, I think position absolute isn't going to cover the entire page though. Top, so it would actually be top 100%, left 0, display block, width 100%, height 100%, background color C index. Yeah, it only takes, if it's positioned absolutely against the header, then it doesn't have the height to cover the entire container. If it's fixed, I don't think fixed is going to work. Yeah, it's already, search drawer. Well, let's take off position relative. Search drawer. Let's just start styling and see what happens. I'm going to put this after main nav. Search. I mean, I guess I could just brute force everything, right? I don't want to. I don't like doing it like that. I like it when things, I just feel like you can be so intentional when it comes to the DOM and how you're arranging things in the DOM that it makes your CSS easier. You don't have to force things into containers or out of containers, I guess, in this instance. If you're being really thoughtful and deliberate with how you arrange things in the DOM. That just makes sense to me. So it's worth it to kind of sit here for a few minutes and think like, oh, am I doing this right? Is this the right way to do this? And try a couple things out. Yeah, just me. So I think we can do top. I'm going to do top 100%. I don't know if that's going to work. Left 0. Width 100%. Height, I guess height 100% until I decide otherwise. Background color white. Z index. I think I left off the last Z index I used was 4. So I'm going to use 5. And it does come, we might have to move it after the mobile app canvas, but if it's not available, if they're available at different times, or you can only open one at a time, that might not matter. Where are you? I think because I did top 100%. So there's top 0, but if the header is position relative, if the header is position relative, and this is top 100%. Yeah. See, I think fixed probably does. Oh, let's check MDN. Position CSS. Does fixed not matter? Like what the parent container is? Let's see what it's. The element is removed from the normal document flow and no space is created for the element in the page layout. The element is positioned relative to its initial containing block, which is the viewport in the case of visual media. Its final position is determined by the values of top, right, bottom, left. This value always creates a new stacking context. In printed documents, the element is placed in the same position on every page. Okay, so absolute, the element is removed from the normal document flow and no space is created for the element in the page layout. The element is positioned relative to its closest positioned ancestor, if any, or to the initial containing block. Okay, that's different from fixed, which is the element is positioned relative to its initial containing block, which is the viewport in the case of visual media. Its final position is determined by the values. This value, so for absolute, this value creates a new stacking context when the value of Z index is not auto. The margins of absolutely positioned boxes do not collapse with other margins. So I feel like this is saying the element is positioned relative to its initial containing block. Okay. Please explain the following to me. I think position fixed does not rely on position relative, and it's always positioned to the viewport. Okay, you're absolutely right. Oof, I love being right. Position fixed does not rely on position relative like absolute does. Let's break it down. Actually, we don't need to break it down because I think that's all I needed to know. Why did I think that fixed did rely on position relative? I mean, in hindsight, that's the whole point of position fixed. Position relative to the closest positioned ancestor, the nearest ancestor with position relative, absolute, or fixed. If no positioned ancestor exists, it falls back to being positioned relative to the initial containing block, which is usually the HTML or the body element. So container, okay. Since container has position relative, box is positioned relative to it. Yes, yes, yes. Also removed from normal document flow like absolute, always positioned relative to the viewport, not an ancestor. Here's the key right here. I feel like I knew this, but I didn't explicitly know it until now. So fixed is not going to work to keep this below, which means we have to, maybe though we just have to do, hang on, I just think I just thought of something. Okay, so I want this to be position absolute. This can still be position relative because this is position sticky. I don't think that matters though. And then I think we want this to be overflow visible. If it's overflow visible, then this will be visible outside of the header. Let's see if this works. It definitely didn't. And it's pushing everything down. Yeah, and it's 100%. It's the same height as the header. 253.2, 253.2. So what if we say 100 VH? The viewport height minus the height of the header. But then I have to like count pixels. So 253.2. Okay, I'm going to do this for now. So this is calc 100 VH minus 253.2. So, and again, we're going to have to do active for, we're going to have to do active for the button and we're going to have to do active for the search drawer. So let's just get those actives in there. And then we will also make sure that the body has an active class. So when this drawer is open, you can't scroll. So basically, we'll put an active class on the body and we'll say overflow hidden on the body. And then it'll prevent this from scrolling. And then this is still, the only thing I don't like is that I have to calculate the height of the drawer. But honestly, this isn't the end of the world. I mean, look at, it's a good calculation because I don't think the height of the header is really going to change. Oh, it did right there. And we'll just make adjustments for that because that's just another value. So on mobile, it's 112 pixels tall. But technically this works. So you know what? We're just going to proceed as if it will always work, and we'll change it when we need to. Okay, so on mobile, so we'll do @media, max width, @media max width. We do also want this to be display none because we only want that to be triggered when it's open. So then this would be display block, and display none means that it's not accessible by a screen reader. This would be, if it's with 100%, this would be left minus 100%, and then this would be left 0. Okay, wait a second. If it's on the left, right, so this would actually be right negative 100%, and then slide in on the other side. So this would be right 0. It's with 100%. And then this height would change for mobile. So the height would be 112 pixels. And then we just need to transition. And we're going to transition the right 300 milliseconds, ease in, out. Oh, and this needs to be an active and active. Oh, no, it's not a media query though, Angela. It's just active because it's not exclusively mobile. So when we click the button and the search drawer is active, the button gets an active class and the drawer gets an active class. The button won't change, but the active class, I mean, does the button need to have, I think the button should have an active class if the drawer is open. And then it goes from display none to display block. We animate the slide from the right, and then we change the, oh, but the height is what changes for mobile. So this we can put in a media query. So @media, yeah, so that does change on mobile, the height. All right, let's see what happens. Oh boy. Here we go. So I'm just going to type active in. Oh, we didn't get our... I did not get my satisfying. Why aren't you sliding? Transition, right, left, right. Yeah, that worked there. So this was right, negative 320 pixels, because the width was 320 pixels. And then when it was active, it was right, it goes from right negative 320 pixels to right 0. And then there's a transition specifically for the right. So we have right negative, because the width is 100%. So it has to be off canvas. Go away, IntelliSense. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's not transitioning. Oh, there are transitions. How much you want to bet it's not? Is it because of the display block? Is that... See, it has to be display block. It has to be display block, or screen readers are going to go in, because it needs to be display none until it's active. I think it's because of the display. Well, I want it to be display none. Because it needs to be triggered and made active by clicking on the button, clicking or tapping on the button if you're on mobile. We could, I mean, we didn't have a problem doing this with our off-canvas navigation. Maybe it's because, but we have display none. Oh, actually, we're not transitioning. Are we? Are we? Is this... Yeah, this is not transitioning. It's not sliding. How did I not notice that? That is because it's display none. Yeah. And you can't transition display. There we go. It's always something, isn't it? Yeah, it's always something. We should do like okay, let me I know I've dealt with this before, I just don't remember. Okay. Okay. Another question. I'm using transition to animate the drawer when it's active. I'm also setting the drawer to display none, then display flex when the button is clicked and the drawer is active. Since I'm toggling between display none and display flex, I've lost the animation slash transition. Yep, that happens because display none removes the element from the document flow entirely, which means CSS transitions won't work. Transitions only animate properties when the element is visible. Solution, okay, use opacity and visibility instead of display none. Okay, thank you. ChatGPT, I'm so happy that you're here to remind me how to do these things. Okay, because visibility hidden does the same thing as display none. The whole point of display none is to keep the screen reader from reading it until it's active. Visibility does the same thing. So instead of toggling display, use opacity and visibility to control the visibility of the drawer without breaking the transition. Got it. Oh, and it's having me use transform instead of write. Yeah. Okay. Do I need to use transform, or can I continue to use write? Okay. So we can keep using right. We're just going to do opacity and visibility. Nice. And then we also do I need to transition? I'm going to try not transitioning the opacity and the visibility and just transitioning the right, because if I want the opacity and the visibility to happen right away. I don't want there to be a delay or an animation, and I only want to delay or animate right. So that's what I'm going to do. So we'll do this. So this will continue to be display flex. And we don't need this. And then I'll put these here, opacity and visibility. And then we need to also add these here, but the opacity will be 1 and the visibility will be visible. So let's see how that works. Oh, but we don't have... But we lost our animation when we remove the active class. Oh. There we go. But why do we need to do... Oh, it's because the visibility and the opacity change immediately so you don't see the animation. That's why you have to do it that way. Okay. I begrudgingly accept that. That is not my first choice, but I understand why I have to do it. Although we could change the timing. Did it do that for me and I just missed it? No, but that's what we're going to do. We could just change the timing. So we could do right 300 milliseconds, and then we can do opacity. We could do the opacity slower. So we could do opacity 400 milliseconds, ease, and then visibility, also 400 milliseconds, ease. And then that way, the animation would happen first because it's faster. The opacity and the visibility would happen last after the animation is complete. This is my theory. This is my theory. Let's see if it works. Not really. It might be, although the transition, it's gonna, the same thing's gonna happen with the transition in, isn't it? It's not just like it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. I'm just gonna play with it for... it's not even noticeable. Yeah, that's okay, I guess. Um, change it all back to 300. And also, I don't like the inline styles on the body. I don't need that. I don't think I noticed that with the JavaScript. Let's, hang on. Let me see here. Body class toggle active. If we don't need this, because we already have CSS to take care of that, so we don't need that. Yeah, the aria hidden, we can definitely do that. No inline styles. And I already have this up here. Oh, yeah, this is fine. All right, let's see how this looks. All right, I'm okay with that. Let's get this. So the search drawer should work the same way. Yeah. So we can pretty much do the same thing with the search drawer. So let's just copy these. And then this is going to be display block. We can take this out. And then take this. Oh, we don't have our toggle on there yet. There we go. Yeah, that works. And we have the correct height, even though our body is scrolling, but we do have the correct height. We'll make sure that the body also gets an active class with overflow hidden, so you can't scroll past the container. And then if we open this up, it should adjust the height. And it does. There we go. That's interesting. Why did it... Oh, it's because this is fixed. That's why. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Let's get this search drawer styled. But yeah, I'm good with that. It's in the correct position. We have the correct height. We can make sure that the body doesn't scroll. We didn't have to brute force the positioning. We just had to calculate the height of the header for desktop and mobile. I don't love doing that, but I think since everything fell into place so easily, with a little bit of just, thoughtful rearranging of how our DOM was arranged, I'm totally good with this. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to stick active right here in the HTML so it's open. And then we can style. So I think actually I will make this display flex. And then we can just flexbox our, we're going to flexbox our form into the middle of the page. So we'll do display flex. We'll say and our button, but our button will be, we're going to pull the button out and do position absolute. So let's actually do that first. So we'll do button, close, position absolute, top 0, right 0. And then the search drawer will be position relative. You know, I'm glad that we looked up our positioning information because it's a good refresher. It's a good refresher to remember how things are supposed to look. And this probably won't even show up. So we'll say, because these are just divs, display block width, I'm going to say 25 pixels, height 25 pixels, and I'll just give this a background color of gray, just so we can see it on the page. This is really impressive. Thank you. You're really good when it comes to debugging and fixing errors. You kept your cool. I mostly freak out when it doesn't work as expected. I don't mean to make light, but this is the most adorable comment. Yeah, I mean, this is how it works when you're doing front-end development. Stuff just doesn't work. And it's like, oh my God, why don't you work? Why aren't you working? And it's things that I've done dozens of times. I mean, I've been working as a front-end developer for 11 years, but I've been doing this for, I don't know, 12 or 13 years, because I did it for a couple of years before I ever worked as a developer. And it's like, stuff just doesn't work. You got to figure it out, man. So yeah, you just have to like walk through the steps. ChatGPT, you guys, ChatGPT is such a blessing. I don't know any other way to describe it. It is such a blessing to have a tool like that and to be able to ask questions and get information. I think between ChatGPT and the outstanding documentation on MDN, there are so many amazing tools for front-end developers to learn and grow and get better and to debug and problem solve. So thank you, Supreme Overlord, for the compliment. I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate those kind words. And yeah, this is how it works, right? You just have to push through and figure out why it doesn't work. So, okay. So our search drawer is going to be position relative. Our button's going to be absolutely positioned, which we know from reading that documentation takes it out of the flow, and that's totally fine. And then the search drawer, in addition to being position relative, let's just, let's take this button out and move it someplace. Feels a little awkward. We'll put it right here. So then we're just going to flex flow that form right into the center of the page. So we'll say row, no wrap, even though that kind of doesn't matter, but I like to have it there anyways. So we'll do justify content center. and align items center. So you're basically saying center it, center it in the middle on the x-axis and center it in the middle on the y-axis. Think of justify content as your x-axis and align items as your y-axis. That's how I think of it. So this should put the form in the middle of the page. Boom, just like that. Love it. Love it, love it. Let's take a peek here. Yeah, that's where it needs to be. So now we just need to style our little search form here. So here's the drawer, and then we'll do I have a separate sheet for forms? I do. So this is our this is the subscribe form. Form class form. And I do not have type search on this list. So let's do, hang on one second. Okay, so we're gonna do form input type search. See, this is actually really good why you define these inputs, because if we had just done a blank set of styles for all form inputs, we would have to reverse engineer the input type search. So instead, let's go ahead and do, we'll go here after the subscribe button, and we'll do input type equals search, and then we're going to say width 100%, border, I'm going to say border none, but then I'm going to say border bottom 1 pixel solid gray, and then I guess just text align center. Let's see how this looks. There we go. So obviously we need to make this a little bit bigger, so this needs to be, I think we just have to define the width of our form. So let's do, I think I'm just gonna do width 75 rems. I think we could just do width 100%. Let's do width 75 rems and then max width 100%. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. And then we need to give this a different text. So I think cabin was the sans serif. Is that right? Got this wrong and I never fixed it. The body is cabin, which is sans serif. So we want this Gelasio or serif font. And then the font size, it's pretty big, so let's just try 3 rems. Nice. Look at that. Ours is a little darker, but that's okay. We'll add a little extra padding. So we'll do some padding of 1 rem. There we go. Yeah. And then we need I think we need the form itself to be position relative. I think that'll be okay. It usually doesn't hurt anything to do that, because we need our submit button to be positioned at, oh, but we don't want it to be, oh, I guess it doesn't matter, because the only thing inside the form element is the input. The label's off canvas. Oh. Submit button. This will be position absolute. Oh, we can't really see that SVG in there, can we? So the button should be, can we also give it the button icon to borrow some styles? I think so. And then this would be top 0, right also 0. Let's see if that works. No, I didn't. No, I did not save this. Did I save this? No, you did not save this. There we go. So we borrowed some of our styles there. So let's make this button a little bigger. And so here's the form. So we just need to make it a little bigger and position it in the middle on the y-axis. So the way I would do that is we'll say, so I think the submit button already has, so it's display inline block. It has padding. So I think we can just we could just give it a little extra width. So maybe, I don't know, 35 pixels, and then some height. Oh, but we want to actually do it as an SVG. So here's the SVG. So we just have to adjust the size of the SVG is all. SVG. So let's do a width of 40 pixels and a height of 40 pixels. And then I want the top to be 50%, and then I'm going to move it back. We'll do transform. Translate Y, we're going to move it back 50% of the total height. With translate Y, we'll calculate the height of the element you're moving and then move it back 50%. So minus 50. And that should put it right in the middle. Yes. I love it. Let's change the color to match this. What color is this? I think this is, here. It's a browser. It's just the placeholder color, right? Of the browser default. Color field text. Input color field text. What is the, hang on, MDN input placeholder text color. Placeholder. Okay. So we can just do this used to be different. You used to have to do placeholder with a whole bunch of what do they call it? What's the word I'm thinking of? Browser prefixes. Yeah. But I obviously like this. So we'll do placeholder, color, maybe we should just do black. Although we could calculate, I mean, we could definitely get a gray that is accessible, meets contrast. But I kind of like that. I don't actually see my pseudo class though. Did I do that right? Input type search placeholder. But it looks black. Well, hang on. Let's change the color. See what happens. What if we just do... Okay, it works. I just want to see that it works. I just want to see that it works. Okay, and then let's make this SVG. What do we have here? Stroke. I'm going to take that out. So it's not fill, it's stroke. Also black. I guess. It was already 222. Okay. This looks darker, doesn't it? I don't know. Does it matter? With nice big tab target, 63 by 63. I'm going to leave it. It's accessible. It looks fine. I think we can leave the stroke out because it was already defined. Okay, let's get our JavaScript in here. Oh, hang on. I did not save. Okay, now it looks like it is. Okay, so let's get our styles up here for our close button, and then we'll sort out the JavaScript. Yeah, we'll just get that JavaScript sorted out. Where is our button? So the button for right here, we're going to make our own X, and we've already done that once in the header. Let me find it here. Right here. So it's on the active class for the divs, but we're just going to do it for the divs. And it's going to be nth of type 1 and nth of type 2 because we're not hiding number 2. So we'll take this, and it's the button close divs. So it's right. I don't think I have it. Wait, yeah, I do. Oh, it must be here. I bet it's down here. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna take these out because we're not transitioning anything. It's just the permanent state of these divs. And we'll take this out. And so this will be 1 and 2. And then we don't need this. Yep, our width was 25 pixels. It was 2 pixels solid black. So I do think that we need this also. And I don't think we need that. And I'm going to move this up. All right, here goes nothing. Oh, almost. Almost. Let's see here. So the divs are 20 pixels. I think our container's too big, that's why. We're so close. So this is This doesn't have, oh, do all the buttons? Maybe all the buttons already have. Do the buttons already have a height, a width and a height on them? Let's do this. Oh. There we go. Not really. So there's that button, and then there's that button. So 48 by 27, maybe we just need to put a height on this. Height, 48. That helped. You know what? Let's go with it. Oh. No, we do want it to be 0. You know what? We're just gonna, it's okay. We're just gonna reposition these. We need to move that up there. And then this one. There we go. That's all we needed. Oh, maybe we need to scooch it over a little bit. So should that be 0? And then maybe that should be... Yeah, maybe they both need to be 0 because they're not being animated. I can get behind that. Okay, let's change this. We just have a little tweaking to do, that's all. Pretty close. Pretty close. I think it's this one. Nope. Okay, hang on. Pixels. There we go. So that would be 1 pixel. Is this even? Almost. Yeah, it's pretty even. So the first one is 2 pixels. This one is 1 pixel. What happens if we also make this one? So that's 1 pixel, 2 pixels, 1 pixel. And I think we just have to change the height. So this is 2 pixels, 1 pixel. And then I think we just have to give, I'm going to give this some width. Well, it should come out to 48 pixels by a height of 48 pixels. We might only need the height. I think we only need the height. It still looks a tiny bit off kilter, doesn't it? But I don't know. I feel like it's good enough. I feel like, what's the saying? Perfect is the enemy of done. Does that button need to... I don't care about the button. I just need a button. But I do want to make it myself. I don't feel like I have to run out and get an SVG when I can make it myself. So this obviously doesn't have the precision that the other button had. And to be fair, I had... If you're here last week, you saw me grab this code from an old repo that I did, like some navigation that I worked on probably 4 or 5 years ago. So I had this tucked away in my GitHub and I went and grabbed it. And clearly I don't remember, but clearly I had done some math and there's some precision here, some intentional precision here. So, oh, you know why it's probably different? Because Because I took out the third div. That's why. So there's a third div taking up space in the middle here. And then we transition the first and the third. That's why these values changed. Okay. But they don't have the precision that I have here. But I don't care. I think this looks fine. It's accessible. We gave it some height. We already knew with our padding and the width of the divs that we had 48 wide, and it needs to be a 48 by 48 tap target. So if you're looking at this, it's pretty far over in the corner here. So let's just move it over a little bit so you're not like bumping your beefy little finger up against the side of the screen. There we go. That's a little better. That's a little better. Yeah. All right. So we'll do top one rem, bottom one rem. Now let's get our JavaScript in place. So when this is open on desktop, this is exactly how this is going to look. I'm not going to animate closing this X. There's no point. It can just always be an X. I think that you should be able to hit the search icon or hit the X to close the drawer. Because, well, yeah, I mean, I think you should. And then how's this look on mobile? Yeah, you know what I don't like about mobile is that we can see this hamburger menu, and this is exactly what I didn't want. So I think, wow, we really have to think about this. See, this is a situation where they just don't give us a lot of direction in here. This is it. This is all we have to guide us in the mock-up. And this is, please, I am not throwing this particular developer under the bus. This is actually, this is normal. This is normal. Usually, this is usually how I get mock-ups. So this is not unique to this designer at all. And then I ask questions like, oh, how should this function? How should that look? And the designers will be like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. So, so on mobile, I guess I'm kind of thinking on mobile that I think on mobile, this search drawer might as well just cover the whole screen. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't want it to, I don't want you to be able to open the menu if the search drawer is open. One thing at a time. Although, if the hourglass has the active class, it would just be really easy to hide this. That would be very easy to hide this. Just display none if it's got an active class. Let's do that. That's just the easiest. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll see how it looks. So, and then we're going to have to, we are also going to have to make sure that we have our focus trapping. Or you could use JavaScript to disable the hamburger menu from being clicked when the search is open. Yeah, I mean, there's that too. Yes. I think I'm leaning towards so if we open the search drawer and if we open the search drawer, let's see here. And this button gets an active class because the drawer is open. I can use the active class to display none, the hamburger menu. And the reason why I prefer to do that is because I don't want there to be a button. I don't think it's a, I think in this particular situation, I don't want there to be a button that's disabled on the screen. I think here's a great example of when to disable buttons. The best example I can think of to disable a button is if the form hasn't been filled out completely or a form with required fields aren't all filled in yet. That's when you disable a button. But disabling a button for the navigation, I think that is less ideal because people are just going to be like, why doesn't this button work? Like they'll be clicking it or tapping it and they'll be like, it's there, it's here, it's on the page, why doesn't it work? And you could do something like make it a different color or make it less noticeable or make it slightly more gray or something like that. But I think people are still going to see it and tap it and click it and it's not going to work and they're not going to understand why. Whereas I think if a button, like a submit button on a form, didn't work, it would be that would be a clue to like to the user, like, oh, the form is not filled out all the way, or the form is not correctly filled out, or there are still required fields that need to be filled out. So that's my rationale. So that is a good idea, but my rationale for why I would prefer to display none, the menu button, is that it simply not be visible at all as opposed to disabled. If that, I think that makes sense. So tell me what you think about that. All right. So first we need to so we've got button, search, and search drawer. So let's have ChatGPT help us with this. Okay, it works. Next, nope. Next, I need focus trapping and to toggle an active class for my search drawer. The button class is button search. And the drawer is search drawer. The focus trapping does not need to include the button search. Clicking the button search should toggle active on both elements and toggle active on another button called button close. And finally, it should also toggle active on the body element. Okay. Focus trapping inside search drawer excludes button search, toggles active class on search drawer, button search, button close, body. So far, so good. Clicking button search toggles the drawer open closed. Clicking button close also closes the drawer. Pressing escape closes the drawer. Thank you. Focus is trapped inside search drawer while active. I forgot about escape. We'll have to check and see if that works on the mobile nav. So here's our function for the search drawer. So we toggle active on the drawer, search button, close button, body is active. Yeah, I'm going to take this out. We don't need this because I already have, I don't need inline styles because I already have my active class taking care of that. And then we have search button, close button, search drawer. Okay, so it didn't include this all with the previous code, but I think this is what we already have. Yep, this looks like so I think we just add our extra. I think we just add this and this. Oh, it does have an escape here. And then we'll see if we can have it do a little refactoring. And we just have to add these. I wonder if this is going to get the button from the menu though. Let's see how it goes. And I think I have to take out this. All right, that works. That also works. We should also make sure that when we open this drawer, the input automatically has focus. And then the input has focus, and then you could type, tab, hit search. But yeah, this works. This is working. Okay, so now we need to test the focus trapping. So we tab. Oh yeah, and then we would need to, yeah, if that's open, we wouldn't want to go through the navigation. We would want to go immediately into so that's why it should be in the DOM before the navigation, not after. So that's fine. I think we can just move this up one. And it won't, it's absolutely positioned, so I don't think it'll matter, but it does need to come in the DOM before the navigation, so it tabs into the correct spot. Let's see if this has an impact. So style-wise, it's fine because it's absolutely positioned against the header. So tab, 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 tab. There we go. Okay, we're getting there. So this button is also absolutely positioned, which means that it should come, so it doesn't matter layout-wise where it is in the DOM because it's absolutely positioned, but let's put it after the search so it at least flows in the correct order. So here's the button. I'm going to put it, yeah, we're going to put it after the search form, but I still think that when you open the drawer, when you open the drawer, the input should automatically have focus. So maybe this doesn't matter, but open, tab, tab, tab. And then it goes back up to the navigation. So we don't have focus. We definitely don't have focus. Hang on. Oh, and let's look in the DOM here. I'm sure the body's getting that active class. So, oh, I didn't take out the, hang on, I did not take out, we don't need this. I already have a class for this. Don't need this. So, okay, so now we have our active class on the body. We have our active class on the search drawer. And we have our active class on the button itself. Yeah. So okay, so let's have ChatGPT refactor this because I combined what it gave me with the original code for the menu. So we have to have it kind of refactor everything here. Okay, the focus trapping is not really working, which I think is my fault because I combined it with the code you gave me for the menu drawer. Which I had to do because you did not combine it for me. That is your fault. Yeah, I know. Okay, you fix it for me. That's what I pay you for. All right. Okay. Yay. Look at that. Oh, and then it pops it back up. Yes, I love it. I love it. And then I'll hit escape. Nothing happened. Oh, maybe I need to be inside. And then I hit escape. There we go. So you just have to be inside. So we triggered it. And then you have to tab again. Okay. So this is the last thing I'm going to ask it to do. Let's close that. And then let's just hang on. Let's tab, open, tab. Let's make sure this is still working. This is still, but it's still not. Okay, so technically though, okay, so remember when we asked it to make sure that this button, which is not part of the drawer, was part of the array of things that we tab through. So let's see if it can remember to do that. Okay. Okay, this is almost perfect. The off-canvas menu also included the, what is it? The off-canvas menu also included the button menu, and now that's missing. So in order to close the menu with the keyboard, the user must escape. There's no access to that button because it's not in the container. Also, when the search drawer is open, I want the focus to automatically be on the search input. Here's my header HTML markup. Yeah, I'm going to give it my markup for the header. So I can just see what my structure is. Got it. I'll update your script to include button menu in the focus trap for mobile off canvas. Automatically focus the search input when opening search drawer. Keep everything working smoothly without conflicts. I'll be the judge of that. Is this Code trying to write a comment for me? Okay. Let's open this. Okay. Tab. No, over here. Come on. Okay, it did not automatically get... It did not automatically get... The input did not automatically get focus. Let's see what's happening here. Oh, we clearly need to adjust those styles for mobile. Okay, that's working. But I'm going backwards. I can't go backwards. I mean, the focus is not working. I can't go backwards. Huh. Okay. Okay. Couple things not working. The search input is not getting focus when the drawer is opened. Also, when the menu button has focus, I cannot tab backwards. Shift plus tab. The search input now reliably gets focus when opening the search drawer. When button menu has focus, you can tab backwards. Shift tab properly. Yeah, it's doing a set timeout. Okay, and I'll have to take this out again because I have styles for... I mean, why? I don't know why it's doing inline styles when I'm very clearly toggling an active class on the body. I'm not sure why it doesn't, like, put 2 and 2 together. If it's by default focused when opened, will tabbing be possible? Yes. So just giving something focused by default doesn't lock the focus in. It just makes it so when somebody opens the search drawer, they can immediately start typing in the input, and they don't have to use their mouse or their keyboard to give the input focus. So yeah, it's a good best practice to make sure that that if you're opening a search drawer, or if anytime you load a page with a form, I personally think that you should be given, well, it depends on where the form is on the page. If you load a page with a form and the form is visible on the page, go ahead and give the first input in the form focus so the user can immediately start typing. This is a great best practice for search drawers, but also anytime you have a landing page where you are trying to get leads, like lead generation, right? Make it as easy as possible for your users to start typing in their information, searching, adding, filling out a form, submitting their name, their email, any, data. If you're trying to collect data and you're getting users to voluntarily fill out a form, make it easy for them. So especially on a mobile device, But this is another example. If on your mobile device the content comes first and the form comes second, don't make your first input on the form focusable on a mobile device, because then you're going to automatically scroll that page past the content. So that's a situation where you wouldn't do it, right? So I think the rule of thumb should be, if you're loading a page with a visible form, 9 times out of 10, you are going to want to make sure that the first input in the form is focused and ready to be typed by default. That's every place I've ever worked where I've done landing pages or forms, that's what they've wanted me to do. So think about what is the easiest thing for the user. How can you make it as easy as possible for the user? That is my recommendation. And, if your marketing director, lead, tech, principal, engineer, whatever, says not to do that, well, then don't do it. But I don't know. In my experience, they wanted me to do stuff like that. They wanted me to think about things like that. That's less than that the team has to sit around and talk about. Oh my God. Do it here. This should be your motivation. Make as many decisions as you possibly can to avoid sitting in a conference room with a product manager, another person from the leadership team, all these people who are talking about what should get focus, right? Because if you are really thoughtful and you can make some of these decisions and get some of this functionality sorted out and, figure out what the best practices are, it's less meetings, it's less mind-numbing conversations about what should have focus. Because providing a good user experience is really, I think it's the front-end developer's responsibility. And if you know what those best practices are, you know how to make it easy for the user, and you can immediately implement those things without having to sit in meetings and being told what to do. That's just better for you, and it's better for everybody. I hope that makes sense. I think that makes sense. All right, let's see. All right, so we'll tab, open. Nice. We have to style this. Good. Good. Yep. Okay, so now what happens if we're just going to go for the navigation? Open. Beautiful. Oh, hallelujah. Okay, so far everything's working perfectly. Let's our drawer though is clearly, oh yeah, look at that. We are not properly hidden off canvas. Why not? Right, negative 100%. I'm not using, look at that. Is this also happening because of my main nav? I don't think so. Oh, but I still have this as display none on mobile. So maybe, yeah, maybe we do still need to do display none. Yeah. Because you can't transition. We're slowing everything else down. So how much you want to bet we still have to display none that? Because when you add active, it'll display block immediately, but the transition will still be delayed. Here's our search drawer. Unless we just do it with the width. Maybe we want... I still think the timing of this... Okay, so I cannot slide. Yeah, we still need to... Oh, it's the... We're main... does that... Why is the... So hang on, I'm missing something here. So there's the main nav. Here's the mobile nav. I did max width 320, not width 320. And overflow Y scroll. Nope, that's something different. Okay, let's do this. So I think max width. So we could do... Yeah, because right, 320. Yeah, because visibility doesn't... It hides it from a screen reader, but it still takes up space. Hides it from a screen reader, it still takes up space. So if I'm not confident that it's still... We're so close, you guys. We are so close. We are so close. But you know what? It's been about 2.5 hours. This is, first of all, it takes as long as it takes. But second of all, this is a reasonable amount of time for how long things are taking. So this is a reasonable amount of time for how long it takes to do stuff like this. Stop. No, I don't want to. This. I want to display none. I want to take this off. I'm worried that I didn't notice that the off-canvas navigation wouldn't still scroll. No, it doesn't. So here's our mobile off-canvas nav. I do have overflow Y scroll, visibility hidden, opacity 0. So it is still there. Position, is it because it's fixed? Right, negative 320, overflow Y scroll. We could just do something really, I mean, you could just do like, I have a feeling it's because of this pixel value. All right, we're just so close. All right. So here's our search drawer. The width is 100%. We're hiding it off canvas negative 100%. Opacity 0, visibility hidden. Maybe it's because, see, I feel like maybe we should do but you still have to, oops, hit the mic. Okay. Width 0, width 100%. I have no idea. Or we could do width viewport. Actually, yeah, let's do that. I think it has something to do with this percentage value. That's what I think. It's being weird because of the percentage. So width, because if we do VW, view, which is the width, is it WV or VW? I think it's viewport width. That is an actual calculated value as opposed to 100%, right? So maybe that's what we want to do. What am I missing here? Is it because it's position absolute? Because the fixed positioning took it out of the flow for the nav. Although this still has, the off-canvas navigation still has structure, 320 by 1062.4, which is 1062.4. That's the viewport height minus the header. but the search drawer is inside of the header. Well, it doesn't matter because I think it's because it's position absolute. I mean, you know what? Maybe we should just do fixed position. We're already calculating pushing it down based on the height of the header. So what does it matter? I don't think it matters if we use those same values. Instead of calculating the height, well, we would calculate the height. So let's just do fixed. And then the top would be this value. 253.2 pixels. I mean, we're using it there, so what does that even matter, right? And we'll change it here. Top 102 pixels. So instead of being positioned absolutely, which means we don't need this because it doesn't even matter. Hopefully that fixes it. I don't know what else. I don't know what the common like denominator is. Okay, that fixed it because I cannot scroll. So let's see. There we go. Okay, that fixed it. So changing the positioning from absolute to fixed. I guess we could have just hidden the overflow on the x-axis. I don't like doing that though. That to me, when you're using overflow to hide something that you don't know how to correctly hide, that just feels like, this just doesn't feel like the right way to do it to me. So, and then let's see, and then this is the result. This is the result right here of like using a top value that relies on a calculation of the header. I mean, we could use JavaScript to start to do some of that calculating, but that gets messy so fast. So let's just put this on our list of things that we need to tweak when we go through and do like another pass at responsiveness. For now, I want to make sure that this form isn't hugging up against the sides. So let's give this form a little bit of padding. So I think we could actually just do we could just do some margin. I'm just going to do 1 rem of margin on the left and the right. And that didn't seem to matter at all. Oh, yeah. We really need to put it around. We want to put it around the form, not the input. But I only want to put it around the forms that have input type search. So let's just do this. Here's our search drawer, form, search. There we go. When in doubt, add a class. What did I just call that? Form search. Oops. Form search margin 0, 1 rem on the left and right to pull it in a little. Oh man. We have issues. Oh, because what? Okay. Am I losing my mind? Okay. The form needs to have some of these values. Yeah, okay. So let's put some of this on the form, not the input. There we go. Kind of. Am I losing my mind? Why am I having so much trouble styling an effing form? Oh, because I took the width off. Okay. So we still need this to be width 100%. So the search form is going to have a width of 75 rems, a max width of 100%. Oh, yeah, we actually do want this to be, but the drawer has the real width. Okay, it's fine. And then the form itself doesn't need to be centered because it's flexboxed. Yes. And then here's the drawer. It's flexbox. Form is the child element. And then these are all the things that control the width. So maybe this does just need to be a width. There we go. Yes. So you can see here that there's a little bit of room on the left and right. And we can get down pretty far here. Look, we're down to 265. But I think we could make the placeholder text smaller. So here's our input. Here's our form. So we'll adjust some of these things, but honestly, for not being adjusted, this holds up well on mobile. This holds up well on mobile. Yeah. I like it. So you can open and close using the search icon, but then this automatically gets focused, so you have this focus trapping inside the drawer itself, and then you can also hit escape to close, and then the focus goes back up to the icon, so we can open that up again. Oh, that's interesting. There we go. Okay, and then it got focus again. And then I'll close it by hitting return, and then it goes back up to the search. Now we can go over to our menu. And we have focus trapping inside the menu. And then can I go back? Yep. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that if this drawer is open, the menu icon is hidden. And the way I'm going to do that is with CSS. So here we can see that the button has the active class. So I'm going to use a sibling selector. Button icon, we'll do button search active plus button menu, and then this will be display none. So that will be display none, and you just won't even be able to, you don't even have the option on mobile to open the menu if the search drawer is open. Okay, so let's do that. Button search. I bet I don't have any styles for button search. Here's button menu. Yeah, we have our markup button search and we have our JavaScript button search. That's it. So here's button menu. So we'll do button search active. We chain together those two classes. Oh, and then we do plus button menu. So this is the plus sign is a sibling selector because these are siblings. They're right next to each other. So and then this the style itself works on the second thing, right? So this only can work if active exists. Stop IntelliSense. Okay, so display none. So this menu is only display none if the active class exists. Let's see if it works. So it might be better instead of display none, which moves this, it might be better to say visibility hidden because it's the same as display none, except it still takes up space. So maybe visibility hidden is better. I mean, maybe they should both be hidden on mobile. And maybe that it should only be visible. We can try it. Sometimes you just have to do it to see what works. So we'll just repeat this and we'll say both. This is how you get it to do both. And so again, this is just for mobile. Click it, they both disappear. Then you can click that. Although, interestingly, on mobile, this does not automatically get focused, does it? And why does the visibility change at different that's like instant and that one lags. I don't know. But they come back at the same time. Probably, I'm sure it's some transition somewhere, right? I have to think about that. I have to think about how I really want that to function. So I think that I think we should sleep on this and refine this tomorrow. Yeah. So we got a lot done today. I mean, the focus trapping all works. I'm happy with that. It really does function the way I want it to. I think we just have some refinements that we need to do, which doesn't have anything to do with code being right or wrong. It's just what feels natural, right? What feels like a normal, natural user experience when these buttons are getting clicked. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to sleep on it overnight and see what I think in the morning, and we'll do some refinements. We definitely need to continue. We need to just do another pass on mobile refinements, but I want to also start adding. I mean, we have things that should be links that aren't links, and that's an oversight that I made when I was writing the HTML, so I want to get that stuff in there. I want to do some refinement things like when we hover over one of these three images in the hero, I want there to be a zoom on the image, but also these should be links. So should the entire container be a link, or should just the title be a link and that triggers the zoom on the image? In that case, the image wouldn't zoom until you moused over the title. But is it a better user experience that as soon as you mouse over the image, you get a zoom? I don't know. I feel like I've seen it done both ways. What feels natural or normal? Sometimes you just don't know till you try it. So we'll work on refining that also. We'll go through and do another pass at responsiveness. We need to do a click event for this category drop down. So we'll get that implemented as well. I don't think that that's going to be too big of a deal. I feel like we've written the bulk of our JavaScript. I would like to get some hovers in here for these social media icons. So we'll go and grab colors from grandcolors.net. Yeah, so we're getting close. We're getting really close. I would say that we're like 90%. If I had to assign a percentage value, I would say we were about 90% done with this homepage. Yeah, it's looking really good. It's looking really good. And then we can start working on those inner pages. So many decisions to make. So many decisions to make. That's how it goes in front-end development, doesn't it? Thank you to everybody who joined me. It's been 3 hours. Oh my gosh, time flies when you're having fun. If you want to go back, I think this is like, what's the title of this video? I think this is like the 8th in this series, our 8th session. I just carve out a couple hours on Saturdays and Sundays to build stuff, practice my own skills as a front-end developer, building UIs. I just think it's so important, whether you're new or experienced, that you're carving out time, just a couple hours a week to practice, build something fun, build something low pressure, no stress, just for yourself, just as an open source project. That's really what we're doing here. We're just practicing. So whether you're new, whether you're old like me, practice is just so important. And I for sure do not carve out enough time. Well, I mean, I do now that I stream, but I hadn't been. And it's incredibly useful because then I run into situations like this and I'm like, I've done this before. I don't remember how to do it. So I want to refresh my memory. But also, how would I handle this? If I was at work and a designer handed this to me or I was freelancing, like, how would I deal with this? What is the best way to deal with this? Yeah. So it's just really good to practice this stuff. So thank you everybody for joining me. Monique and the Supreme Overlord were both here in the comments, in the chat. I appreciate you. If you enjoyed this video, go back and watch earlier videos in the series. We literally started with a blank canvas where we wrote the HTML and we're just chipping away at the CSS every week. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I would love to have you. I would like to get to 1,000 subscribers by this summer. I think I set a goal to get to 1,000 by June 1st. I'm not good at saying things like and subscribe. I know I should be. I know it's important to ask people to do it. I'm not good at it. I just forget. I forget to ask. So I'm going to start asking because I think that's important. And I do want to grow this channel. So everybody have a great rest of your day. I hope to see you here tomorrow. We'll continue chipping away at some of these refinement steps, implementing some more responsive styles. We'll go through and check some more accessibility. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.